Hello, listeners. If you are here, then you may have switched over from our 250th episode featuring Claude Steele to listen to Eric and I have a sidebar conversation about nearly 10 years and 250 episodes into the flagship podcast, PsychSessions, conversations about teaching and stuff. And I'm just going to riff here, Eric. What do you think about our name? 10 years later, 250 episodes later, what do you think about the name that we chose for this thing?
Oh, that's a really interesting question, buddy. So a couple things. First off, I remember us agonizing over it. I remember us having like shared Google Docs somewhere where we went back and forth on what we would call it. Of course, you got to search and figure out what other ones are out there so you don't call yours something else. And so not only am I really pleased with the name of our podcast, I'm so pleased with the graphics that we used. I want to get his name right. Shout out to Cale Livingston, who works with us and for us as a graphic designer and developed that original pink figure ground logo with PsychSessions. And we have used that and reused it and repurposed it and recolored it for a bunch of our spin-off series. We now actually have a new, more circular logo that we used that Cale designed. And so super pleased with the name, but maybe even more pleased with the logos.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, you always set out to build a memorable brand, but nothing builds a brand like longevity, first of all. And you never know exactly what it is that you are going to like or dislike down the road. Like, I don't know, our, we have the title PsychSessions, love that. Conversations about teaching and stuff, that made us very happy when we came up with that at the beginning. Are we now just PsychSessions? I mean, we really don't mention the rest of it very often. I think people are going to probably find this very boring, the fact that I'm talking about this, but it was a little quirky, which we liked about it. And we knew we needed to say something about like psychology teachers and teaching is going to be the focus, but we also just want to get to know people. So there's got to be more than just that.
I think they're equally important, to be honest with you. Obviously, we want to talk about how do we become better teachers, better educators, better in the classroom, better outside of the classroom. But also the end stuff is super important. And honestly, it's interesting. I've said this a couple of times in different interviews. If I meet up with some of my friends at a conference, whether it's ACT or APA or RMPA or WPA or whatever, when I meet up with them, we might be lucky enough to go to dinner and have a couple hours together. We might sit at a bar and have a drink together after the end of a long conference day. But those conversations never involve, in my world, they never involve things like, so what did you do in high school? Were you a band geek? Were you an athlete? Were you on the debate team? Were you in drama? Were you president of the chess club? I just don't have those conversations with my colleagues and friends at conferences. So PsychSessions, at least for me, has given me the bandwidth. Tell me about when you were growing up, was it you were going to go to college or not, or what college were you going to go to? I don't ask my friends those questions at conferences. And so PsychSessions has been this delightful vehicle to explore things and get to know the end stuff about a person, about a colleague, about a friend.
Yeah. We've done so many interviews. I find myself forgetting some of those details. But every once in a while, I'll be talking to somebody and I'll be like, oh, yeah, this thing about you that you mentioned, I would have never known it. But these little gems come up in these conversations. And now you know that about someone. I wish my memory was better, but it's fun when you are reminded of it because you learned it in a more personal way. For sure.
Well, it's a good thing, that the episodes are recorded. I think I had a conversation with Molly Metz about how I had just gotten into barbershop quartet music on YouTube. back in the day. Or I remember a conversation you and I had with Loretta McGregor where I bawled like a little boy. Oh, I cried hard. I mean, it was that kind of ugly cry. And so I kind of, for better or for worse, those moments are memorialized in an audio format forever.
Yeah. Yeah. I went back. We have this new series called Re-Release because after 250 episodes, some of the earlier ones that people just find Psych Sessions now, they haven't heard some of our earlier catalog. And so we're putting those out. Now, Psych Sessions has been released every 2 weeks since the beginning without missing a Tuesday. Right.
Okay, I'm going to come back and correct that slightly.
Okay.
I don't want to interrupt you.
All right. So, but we've been at it for a long time, and so now on the off weeks, we are releasing these re-release. And I was just telling you, Eric, that the Jane Hallinan episode, I think 6, maybe 7, that episode, I went back and listened to it. It's over 10 years ago. It was during Snap, if you remember what that was. And was it Snap? No, it was the other one. Anyway, no, it was the other one. It was the high school one. So I'm talking to her on there, and I just had this whole experience this whole time. I don't really re-listen to things on Psych Sessions, but the experience was surreal. Listening to a conversation you had 10 years ago with someone who you still have a friendship with today and talk to regularly was bizarre. And so I wonder if our guests feel that if they ever go back and listen. I'm sure they'd have the same experience.
Well, I hope we can have some of those conversations at ACT 2026, because Psych Sessions is planning to do some sort of an event. If only we can talk the ACT director into letting us do that. I do want to come back. And so almost without fail, we have released an episode every other Tuesday for 10 years. There was one fail in there, and it was by accident. We actually released like on a Tuesday, and then the following Tuesday, we both forgot the schedule, and we released back to back. So then we went 3 weeks to get back on track. And so there is one, I'm sorry, I'm anal retentive about this. There was one blip in our history. So almost, except for with one exception, every other Tuesday for the last 10 years, we've released an episode.
How long ago was it? I have no recollection of this.
Oh, I'm going to say 5-6 years ago. It was just and we made up for it then, but by waiting an extra week, since we've done two Tuesdays in a row, which is typically not our pattern.
Yeah. Wild. Yeah. We have something like, I don't know, 15 or 20 series that we've done on this side. And I shouldn't say we've partnered with people, with hosts who have come in and had an idea. And by the way, folks, just if you're listening to this, if you have a great idea for a podcast series, just reach out to me. We love to produce other people's series for them. And
I think that's ABC, right? Always be closing.
Always be closing.
Always be closing. The other piece of that I want to add to is that we've had so many great series, and they're all available to you at psychsessions.org or your favorite podcast provider. The different series have different logos. And I think the last time I looked at the data, so there's 250 episodes of the Psych Sessions flagship, the OG, the original. But altogether, with everything we've done, there's actually over 600 episodes. Wow. 600 separate episodes of content that we have released with our colleagues and friends and over the past 10 years.
Now, folks, you might think that I'm going to edit out Eric's difficulty.
I'm sure you're going to keep it in.
But that's one of the beautiful things about this podcast is like we do not do much editing at all. I had to break Eric of this habit that he wanted to edit things when we started, but it was a workload issue.
I still edit a little bit when Bert's not looking.
Yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine. I know you do it often so that people will, come across as their best selves. And
do you know what I do? I'm just gonna share it with you. What I will do is that we have a program called The Script, which is awesome. And when I put a podcast into there that I've recorded, I get a transcript of it on my screen. And I use a find and replace feature, and I can remove all the ums.
Yeah.
And in a 1 hour recording with two people talking, there might be 500 ums. And so when there's like numbers like that, I will do a find and replace and say, take out all the audio ums in a recording. That's the level of, I'm not talking about editing content. I'm talking about editing for sound quality.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so folks, if you want to have your ums edited out, just let Eric interview you. And if you are okay with 500 ums, just let me interview you. I think that's the lesson here.
Is that going to be the takeaway of this, buddy?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's it.
Let me. I don't know if we're getting ready to conclude this, but let me say one more thing, which is, I never in a million years thought that PsychSessions would outlast 10 years. I can speak for myself confidently. I had no idea what I was doing starting a podcast. I had no idea the editing, the gear, the financial commitment we were making. I had no idea about that. I was truly a novice. I truly had imposter syndrome at the beginning, trying to be a podcaster. And not only am I thrilled that we became the accidental historians for the teaching of psychology, I'm thrilled that we've done this together. And so thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah. I feel the same way. It's been a great run. And to that point, that's no small matter, that historian piece, and that it was accidental. But we have gotten we've interviewed some folks who have since passed away. Rest in peace, the Rick Millers and the Albert Banduras and the Bill McKeechee. It's
Charles Brewer,
and there'll be more. That's the way this goes. And but we have their voices and we have their stories, and we have just a good time interviewing people. There is an underlying seriousness of what we do, and what we're going to contribute here, and what we will hopefully donate someday to maybe even Akron.
Oh, sure,
yeah. So. Yeah. Eric, let's keep going. Let's see what kind of fun we can have in the next chapter.
250 down, 250 more to go.
Okay.